I think I'm live. I think I'm live. Is that little Riley wandering around there? Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning. Oh, hang on. Because I've got the video on in another. So I had the video on the actual. Anyway, don't ask. Let's start again. Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie. And good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And oh my God, it's getting crazier and crazier. You know, sometimes I like to go into the internet world, the YouTube world, with all my chatters, my lovely chatters, to try and forget the peoply, horrible, real world. And then the internet world goes weird and wonderful as well, doesn't it? So I'm just staying in my world, our world. We just stay in our world. And today I've got some good news for once to tell you, because of course I talk about true crime mostly, don't I? And other things that people might find interesting. But I thought I'd come on and do this video about Catherine, because we have looked you remember all the, uproar, if you like, when Catherine sort of went AWOL, didn't she, after Christmas? And there was so much speculation about what was going on. And, there's bound to be, Catherine is in the public eye. And, when she disappears out of the public eye, there's bound to be speculation from people that are concerned about her, from people who don't like her for whatever reason. There's all sorts of reasons. Anyway, of course, it turned out that Catherine was suffering from cancer. And everyone shut up then, of course, because, it's like, I don't know why it wasn't said right from the beginning, because the palace were always very open about Charles's diagnosis, weren't they? And maybe Catherine wanted it to be private. But, when you're in the public eye, there are good things and bad things. And lack of privacy. I mean, I think they get a lot of privacy, but speculation and things like that. It's inevitable, and it's one of the bad things that comes with the good things about being in the royal family. Anyway, so she's just finished her chemotherapy. So, we presume that she's better. She's released a nice video, a lovely video, and that's what we're going to look at today. So, let's chat. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to put my banner on. I want to say my usual thank yous. Honest to God, and these thank yous are even more heartfelt at the moment than they normally are, because without all the nice things that you do for me, like watching, subscribing, liking, being members, making nice comments, sending nice emails, I would not be on YouTube now if it wasn't for them, because that's the only thing that's keeping me on this dastardly place at the moment. But anyway, so yeah, thank you. And if you're not already subscribed, please think about subscribing. because it's completely free and it really helps out my channel. I think it's about 90% of people who watch videos are not subscribed to that channel. Also, even if you are already subscribed or you think you are, make sure you are, because sometimes YouTube has a little funny habit of unsubscribing people. And make sure you've got your notifications on, so you get a warning of any time that there's a live coming out or a video comes out. So also, as I say, special thank you to my members. I've got members live tonight. Carry on chatting. I'm looking forward to that. Thank you to those of you who gift memberships, because I used to forget to say that thank you, because some people are regular gifters of memberships, and that's lovely as well for people. So thank you for that. Thank you for anyone who's bought me a Ko-fi, sent me a super sticker, PayPal'd me, supported me in any way to sort of help my journey through this crazy world. So I hope I'm helping your journey through this crazy world as well. So okay, so thank you. So let's take the banner off. Oh, pressing all the wrong buttons again this morning. I think it's just part of the course with me, to be honest. Okay, so there's Catherine up in the top right hand corner. Let's have a look at a bigger photo of Catherine. I've got prepared. Here's one I prepared earlier. I've got that many. There you go. Yeah, and it's a very beautiful picture, I think. You know, her hair looks very natural. Her dress is nice in that lovely background, which I presume is the gardens of one of the places where she lives. I don't know if they've got more than one home. I have no idea. But anyway, it's a beautiful picture. She looks well. She looks healthy. And she's smiling, and the smile looks genuine. And so it's nice to see that on a human level. Now, I just want to say, you all probably know, if you're regular watchers of my channel, I'm not a royal family fan. I'm not a royalist. You know, the Queen, after the Queen died, that was it for me as far as the royal family. You know, to me, I'd like to see the back of it. That doesn't mean to say that on a human level, I don't sort of care about what happened to Catherine, just like I would care what happened to any mother who was suffering from cancer. You know, you wouldn't want any children, whether they be royal children or it doesn't matter, their children, worrying about their mother. And there's so many things that I know there's a lot of you out there that have been through cancer treatment, etc. I myself am very lucky and I haven't, but a lot, I do know friends and family that have. And I know it's very difficult for so many different reasons. And we're going to look at them as well, because, it's not only the health side of it. Obviously, it must be terrifying when you get told that you've got cancer, because you just have no idea, do you, what the future's going to hold. And you sort of want to know everything about it in one way, and then probably in another way you don't really want to know. You just want to go back to how you were before you were diagnosed with cancer and pretend it's not happening, I would imagine. Sorry, I'm just stirring my tea. Got black tea today. Cheers. So let me say hello to everybody first. Hi, David. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Michelle. You made it for this one. Oh, thank you. Michelle says she loves my channel. Thank you so much. Hi, Maria. Hi, Heather. The video of the robin opened. I'm going to show it at the end of this video if I'm allowed to. But I still couldn't open that other one. Hi, Chumba. And then they're all saying hello to each other. Hi, Admit. Thank you, David. Yes, don't forget to leave your DNA on the like button. Right, Admit, you have to bring a note if you're late. Yeah, she does look happy on that photo, Kelly. I agree. Because she doesn't, there's often that she doesn't look very happy. But before even she had the cancer diagnosis. So maybe the rest, sometimes, obviously she's not been doing her public duties and things. Yeah. She definitely will have had the best of treatment. So that's one thing you could say for Catherine, or for Charles the same. These are the worries that, if you like, normal people have when they get cancer. It's very difficult because you've got financial problems. Maybe you can't work. Maybe you have to miss work. Maybe you've got an understanding boss. Maybe you haven't. And then it's how you tell the family, isn't it? You've got not only that you find out that devastating news, and then that must have been a difficult day when Kate had to say to her young children, because they have to know really in that circumstance, because you don't know if someone's going to say something to them at school, or they have to be told, but how do you tell them? And that'd be terrifying for them because they won't really understand what's going on. And as you know, and you mentioned that word, the big C, people get terrified, don't they? It's like, it's a very scary situation. Anyway, let's have a look. Oh, sorry, I'm just thinking, Heather, I probably couldn't, of course it was the Area 51 video. There's probably something a bit, maybe it's been beamed up. Anyway, let's have a look at the video first before we start talking in general about, the experience of cancer. Now, of course, they're all different kinds of cancer. That's the thing. And I would imagine the first thing that anybody does who gets diagnosed with cancer, or a loved one gets diagnosed, is you look up that particular type of cancer and what's the prognosis. Some cancers, see, we still don't know exactly what type of cancer Kate had, do we? But some cancers have a better prognosis than others, don't they? There are some that when you hear someone's got that particular type of cancer, you think, oh gosh, because just from experience, just from statistics, that particular cancer has not got a good outlook, if you like, or but then there are other cancers that have really high clear up rates, really high recovery rates. And I know several people that have had cancer many years ago, recovered, had their treatment, recovered, and been clear, ever since. So it's not the death knell that maybe it was once. But still, anyway.
Tell you what a relief it is to have finally completed my chemotherapy treatment.
Let me just go back to the beginning. So I do think this is a beautiful video. It's quite a strange video in terms of, the royal family never releases videos like this. So I'm not, have they got a new communications team? Because also I think, a lot of it recently, seeing the Catherine and William together, they've not looked very happy just in general. Before the cancer, I'm talking before the cancer thing, going right back to when the Queen died. There's lots of rumours of him, having had affairs even with her best friend. And the Spanish news make a big deal of that because I suppose they're not as restricted maybe what they can say about the British royal family. I don't really know, but so lots of rumours flying around about William and other women, and I don't know if they're true or not. I've no idea. I'm just saying what was being said. And it was true that they were never really seen together. What always struck me, and even my son mentioned it, their body language was never very, just even at the Queen's funeral, It wasn't a question of putting their arms around each other or not even holding hands. There was definitely very frosty. Catherine was very frosty, just didn't look happy at all. And this, as I say, is well before this incident with the cancer. But this video is completely different. I mean, this video is like, I'm always a little bit suspicious of things that try and show, how happy everybody is. Because we know from social media that's not always the case. But it is a very beautiful video, I think.
As the summer comes to an end, I cannot tell you what a relief it is to have finally completed my chemotherapy treatment. The last 9 months have been incredibly tough for us as a family. Life as you know it can change in an instant, and we've had to find a way to navigate the stormy waters and road unknown. The cancer journey is complex, scary, and unpredictable for...
Yeah, I can't remember ever seeing them like this. Like, I was a little bit speechless when I saw it. I mean, it's nice to see them relax like that, and I hope it is genuine. I do hope it's genuine. I'm not a horrible person who wants them to be unhappy. I'm not a royalist, but it's nice to see people being happy, especially after what they've been through. But I've just never seen anything like this before. So let me know what you all think of it in comments. I know there'll be some of you won't like it and some of you will like it, but anyway, let's see.
Complex, scary, and unpredictable for everyone, especially those closest to you. With humility, it also brings you face to face with your own vulnerabilities in a way you've never considered before. And with that, a new perspective on everything.
Is this filming?
Hello? Hello?
This time has above all reminded William and me to reflect and be grateful for the simple yet important things in life, which so many of us often take for granted, of simply loving and being loved. Doing what I can to stay cancer-free is now my focus.
Yeah, so it was nice seeing the children in a relaxed circumstance. So I do feel for the children, the royal children, because I feel like when you see them and they're dressed in that sort of uniform that the royal children seem to wear, of like shorts, and you see them and it's difficult because right from when they're young, they're being molded into a certain way, aren't they? And we saw it. I didn't quite see it. I'm not quite that old. That saw it with Prince Charles and Prince Andrew, etc. But I've seen it on pictures, and of course, as I say, much as I'm not a royalist, I do have a feel for them, because it's not nice to live a life that's not natural, but it's as I say, it's the price you pay, isn't it? There are lovely things about being part of the royal family, having lots of different homes that you can go and visit, or never having to worry about paying a bill, or things like that. Those are the good things, and what you and the best medical treatment, all that kind of thing. But the things you sacrifice, of course, is like whatever a normal life is. Let's just have a look at the children again. Thank you, Heather, for the Ko-fi. Listen, I've said, well, if you get beamed up, you're coming back down for me. And if I get beamed up, I'll come back down for you.
Life, which so many of us often take for granted, of simply loving and being loved. Doing what I can to stay cancer-free is now my focus. Although I have finished chemotherapy, my path to healing and full recovery is long, and I must continue to take each day as it comes.
Now, the owner, if she had chemotherapy, did she not lose her hair then? Because her hair, unless it's a wig, which it doesn't look like a wig to me, but it could be, I suppose. doesn't look like she's lost her hair. So do you always lose your hair with chemotherapy? I mean, her hair looks fine, doesn't it? So maybe it's a wig. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I am, however, looking forward to being back at work and undertaking a few more public engagements in the coming months when I can. Despite all that's gone before, I enter this new phase of recovery with a renewed sense of hope and appreciation of life. William and I are so grateful for the support we've received and have drawn great strength from all.
You know, never seen a royal video like that where they're all over each other. You know, like really affected.
William and I are so grateful.
Yeah. An old royal cynic like me, I'm there like practically in tears at that video. So, oh my God, I expect, you know, people who love the royal family, you know, which a lot of people do, just whatever they do, you know, just they love them. They're probably in, you know, hysterics because I do, you know, I do find that video really touching and really emotional. It feels heartfelt. I know for a fact there'll be some of my chatters who'll come on either here or comments saying things, and you know, I as you know, everyone can have their view, but I find it very emotional. I'm going to just play that very last bit, and then I'm going to go back to the beginning and play it again. Right, let's just take it back to the beginning. Let me know what you think. Oh, helps if you press play, of course. You know, if you don't press play, things don't play.
As the summer comes to an end, I cannot tell you what a relief it is to have finally completed my chemotherapy treatment. The last 9 months have been incredibly tough for us as a family. Life as you know it can change in an instant, and we've had to find a way to navigate the stormy waters and road unknown. The cancer journey is complex, scary, and unpredictable for everyone, especially those closest to you. With humility, it also brings you face to face with your own vulnerabilities in a way you've never considered before. And with that, a new perspective on everything.
Is this filming? Hello? Hello?
This time has above all reminded William and me to reflect and be grateful for the simple yet important things in life, which so many of us often take for granted, of simply loving and being loved. Doing what I can to stay cancer-free is now my focus. Although I have finished chemotherapy.
Now that's interesting what she said. Doing what I can to stay cancer-free is my main focus. Now, do you think you can prevent cancer? Or do you think, I'm not sure that you can. I mean, obviously, if you smoke, you know, 40 cigarettes a day, you've got more of a chance of getting lung cancer than someone who doesn't smoke. I suppose there's obvious things like that. But we'll have a look in a minute, because, you know, can you prevent cancer? Because, you know, I would say that Kate was a very healthy person. She's always been slim. I presume she's done sports and stuff like that, but she's still got cancer. You know, there's a part of me that's not sure whether you can actually stop yourself from getting cancer. It seems to be there's a lot of genetic factors, isn't there? And maybe just bad luck. I don't know. And then, of course, as you get older, I suppose you're more likely to get cancer. I don't know. Again, I don't really know how it works. I don't know. And luckily for me, I don't know hardly anything about it. You know, because as I say, although I do know people who've had cancer and have survived. And to be fair, most of the people that I know that had cancer when they were younger did survive. I've got a niece at the moment just been diagnosed, and she's very, very young, which is a great niece, really. So it's very, very sad. But I think, you know, the type of cancer she's got, I'm hoping, you know, and she's got very strong will, etc. But she's just, it does surprise me about Kate's hair, because everyone that I know who's had chemotherapy, not radiotherapy, but chemotherapy, have lost their hair. So I'm quite surprised about Kate's hair.
My path to healing and full recovery is long, and I must continue to take each day as it comes. I am, however, looking forward to being back at work and undertaking a few more public engagements in the coming months when I can. Despite all that's gone before, I enter this new phase of recovery with a renewed sense of hope and appreciation of life.
Got a shirt on as well. I mean, does he wear a shirt then when they I suppose it's for the purpose of the video. They're not in their normal sweats probably. God, if you saw me on a Sunday going out taking the dog for a walk, I don't look like that, you know. But it's funny with him in that shirt. I always remember my dad. He always wore a shirt no matter what. If we were on the beach even, he'd have a shirt on and often a tie as well. You know, that was just, but of course, William's a lot younger. I mean, so I'm surprised at William. But anyway, it's for the benefit of the video, I suppose.
So
So, you know, it's interesting. And I know the Queen used to do those things at Balmoral, but she was, they were quite informal, weren't they? That anyway, I don't know. It's a lovely video, whatever. I don't know if the affection between them is genuine or not. Only they know that, don't they? Only they know what happens behind closed doors. But they've done the right thing, I think, to, you know, on a PR. Maybe they've got a new PR team because they certainly needed one. Because they've done the right thing on a PR level, you know, to come out. The thing is, if you make a video like that, that satisfies the media, you know, and I'm talking about the mainstream media, you know, they're the ones that are constantly wanting stories just as much as, I mean, I'm only doing this, you know, I wouldn't normally do a story on the royal family, but, you know, seeing that video, and I knew people would be interested in it. And because we've looked at this scenario with Catherine before, but, you know, a lot of people are interested in the royal family. So the mainstream media. But you can control, you know, this is this limitation thing, isn't it? You know, if you're sensible, same for famous people in general, not only the royal family, if you give the media something, at least they've got a story to run with. You know, the mainstream media have got that story to put out, the video to play. They're happy with that. But if you say nothing, this was what was happening before, wasn't it? When poor Kate went into hospital and came out, and there was that deafening silence about what had happened to her. So people fill in those deafening silences, you know, and those sort of things grow. That's just the way it is these days. You know, there's no point in saying it shouldn't be like that, because it just is. And it's a set years ago, it was like the paparazzi, wasn't it? We didn't have social media. There weren't people there with their phones videoing and stuff. But the paparazzi, you know, hounding Diana to death like they did. And probably not only Diana really, but she's probably the highest profile one. So, you know, nowadays, that I think it's really good what they've done. They're controlling the media instead of letting the media control them. They're controlling the narrative. Oh, look, there's little Tia. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. So, yeah, I think they've done the right thing releasing that video. And it is a lovely video. And it's lovely to see the kids relax like that, not in a formal setting. And it's nice to see Kate and William looking like they're affectionate towards each other. It looks genuine. Who knows if it is? As I say, only they know that. Only they know that. Hi, Pamela. Pamela, have you been poorly? You had breast cancer 10 years ago and you thought you cured, but, oh, right, okay. So are you going through treatment at the moment, Pamela? Anyway, sorry, I'm not trying to be nosy. I'm just inquiring. Now, yes. Oh, so Maria was saying about her dad had the same cancer as Prince Philip. Yes, pancreatic cancer is not one of the good ones, is it? You know, it was a good, no cancer is good, but you know what I mean? Not one of the ones that you're as likely to recover from. But people do recover, of course. Wasn't that what Patrick Swayze had as well, pancreatic cancer? Right, okay. Oh, Pamela. So, well, I hope it goes well. I'm sending you love and healing as well. We should maybe every week do a little prayer session for people who are, because, you know, this is Pamela, you're talking about physical suffering in a physical way, but there's lots of people suffering all different kinds of ways, aren't there? So there's physical, mental, financial, you know, just relationship problems, family problems. It's a wonder, you know, when you think about how complicated life is. You're just like, there's always somebody, you know, it's just, I'm laughing, not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because what else can you do? You know, that's why laughter helps so many people. Because sometimes when you've got all these things going on in my life, I tend to get to a point, you know, where if there's something going on, or, you know, and I worry and I get in the right state about it. And then I seem to get to, I'm not about physical things though here. Physical things, of course, are different because you can't switch them off. You know, they're there and you've got to go and have the treatment. I'm talking about other things. You know, but they can cause physical problems. And you were right, Kelly. You know, cancer, I believe, can be caused by stress. I had a student who was a doctor. In fact, I've got a few students who are doctors or were doctors. It's great because you can ask them advice about things. Do you think I should go to the doctor? You know, because I'm terrible. I never go to the doctor, even when I should. You know, and I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's how I am. But Yeah, stress, definitely. You know, most doctors agree that although, you know, homeopathy, 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 I can't say it, homeopathy is a good complement to medicine. You know, that neither should be, you know, there's holistic healing is important as well, but it can be complementary to more traditional. What are you doing? Can't you get comfy? Look, she can't get it comfy. The cushion's getting in your way. The cushion's getting in your way. You can't fit on the chair. Let me move him. She's she can't seem to get comfy on the chair that she likes sitting on. I think the cushions were getting on the way. Is that better? Is that better? Move all the cushions. Now you've got room. Okay. So yeah, you know, and these Reiki and all those things. I think, you know, I don't know if you can cure cancer without chemotherapy. Some people think you can, you know, and somebody was saying actually, somebody was saying that chemo, they've got a new kind of chemo where they've got a lot of new treatments now, of course. And of Kate, the one thing that you can safely say about Kate is she will have got the best treatment, the latest treatment. Yeah, her hair, there's nothing's wrong with her hair. So unless that's a wig or extensions, which there may be extensions in there. But yeah, she's had the best of treatment. And hi Julie, as you say as well, Julie, she'll have had instant treatment. Because a lot of people in Britain, not here, I'll tell you now, in Spain, you wouldn't have to wait not even a week. I've got to say that, you know, the health system here, it's got its failings, just like anywhere else, but it's very, very quick. You know, I had a student not long ago, well, I've still got the student, and her cousin was coughing up blood, went to the doctor, diagnosed with cancer. The following week started treatment. You know, they don't mess about here for that. It really shocked me. I think it was in another video that I did about Kate, to hear that people can wait so long before they even start their treatment. So the end of the day, they could be dead before their treatment even starts, or their tumor or whatever it is could be so far advanced, you know, that it can't be helped. So that is disgusting. That needs sorting out. One thing I will say in Spain, if you've got a life-threatening illness, you get instant treatment. Now, there's waiting lists for other things, obviously, you know, that aren't life-threatening. But even then, you're only supposed to wait 3 months maximum in Spain. And then if you've been told you need an operation, whatever it's for, and 3 months later you still haven't been called for that operation, you can apply for what's called a plan de choque, which is they have to, you go down to the hospital or whatever, and you put in, it's like a claim, like a reclamation. You know, you were told you needed this operation. It's 3 months of whatever operation, whether it's well, if it was life-threatening, you would have had it by then. But, you know, whatever it is, whether it's just like a bloody, you know, I don't know, carpal tunnel, or whether it's something more serious. They've got 3 months to give you that operation. They've got to do it. And actually, over the summer, another student of mine was feeling tired during the summer, like we all do. I mean, I think in the summer, God, I hope you don't get ill in the summer, because you feel ill. It's so hot and humid, and you've got no energy, and you feel terrible. So, but, you know, and every summer I always think, oh God, I think I'm ill. I must be ill because the way I feel. And then as soon as the weather just gets that little bit cooler, I start feeling better again. Anyway, this was what happened to my student. She just felt terrible. A couple of times in class before the summer, before we broke up for the summer, she was feeling faint. And she'd sit there and say, look, I can't, I just can't talk. You know, I'm feeling that faint that I just can't even speak. And anyway, to cut a long story short, in the end, she went to the hospital, and they said, yeah, she one of her heart valves wasn't working properly, and she needed a pacemaker. I mean, I don't understand the ins and outs of it. And she was literally that same week, she was in hospital. She had a pacemaker fitted, and out. So in the space of a week, and she was out a couple of days later. You know, it was, and she's feeling so much. She's coming back to classes soon. So, you know, I do think in Spain, if you had to be ill, you know, nobody wants to be ill, but I think you prefer to be ill in Spain than in the UK because their health service is so much better. You know, the wait, yeah, there is not a waiting list if you've got cancer. There just isn't one. You just straight away your treatment starts. So, yeah, I bet there's quite a few people actually who have, you know, like you say, Julie, who have cancer, who'll have watched, who maybe haven't even started their treatment yet. So they'll have seen Kate be diagnosed with cancer. Now Kate's announcing that she's had her last treatment from cancer, releasing a video where everything's hearts and flowers. And these people, there'll be some people there in the UK be watching that and thinking, mine hasn't even started yet. You know, so you know, it is. Don't get me wrong; that's not Kate's fault. I'm glad for Kate. Anybody who offered you, you're not going to say, "Oh no, I'll wait until everybody else has had it." You want that treatment, and you know she's going to take advantage of the treatment. And that is one of the pluses of being a royal. But this is why I always say you've got to take the bad things about being a royal as well. You know, no life is perfect. You know, what would you swap? Would you have the cancer treatment, or would you think, you know, no point then in whinging, oh God, I can't get any privacy. I'm, you know, part of the royal family. And also Kate married into the royal family. Kate wasn't born into the royal family, so she decided to marry William. She knew she was marrying into the royal family. She knew about the royal family. So, you know, she made a choice, and she's got to take the good with the bad, you know, at the end of the day. That's exactly right, Julie. The GPs are a bit, well, to be fair, we've got a brilliant GP. But she's actually not Spanish. I think she's Romanian, or she's Eastern European anyway. But sometimes the GPs can be a little bit old school. And they always used to be in my little village, and that they are in other little villages. But in my village now, the GPs are brilliant. But when I first came to Spain, they were, oh God, so what, you know, like almost scary, really. Oh. Yeah, that's a sad story, Chumba, isn't it? Yeah, that is a sad story. There'd be so many sad stories out there, you know. So yeah, it's great about Kate, but we have to think about other people. As I say, oh, can you hear me? Guess who it is? Have you finished? Am I going to put you in the bathroom? Or are you going to be quiet? Right, let's just, oh God. Do you know, I had this fantastic moment yesterday where I heard like this great big sort of van thing outside, and I thought that horrible neighbour, I thought he was moving out, but I don't think he was. Anyway, we've got the fiestas starting this weekend. So I tell you what, if I won the lottery, I'd be going off to stay somewhere else for the week, well, for 2.5 weeks while the fiestas go on. But this weekend, the street party starts. Oh God, it'll be unbearable. So anyway, never mind. I hope they'll all have a good time. I'll be like, like this, covering my ears. It'd be bangers, fireworks, all talking in the street. You know, it'd be a nightmare. As Julie knows, because she's just been through it in her village. Right, let's have a look at cancer waiting times in the UK. I don't know what they're like in Australia, Kelly, if you're still there. Are the waiting times long in Australia? Or I suppose in America, what do you do? I mean, in America, of course, if you haven't got private health insurance, you'd be stuffed, wouldn't you, if you had cancer, because you won't be able to afford your treatment. So, how long is the wait for cancer treatment UK? So only 67.4% of people in England received their diagnosis and started their first treatment within 2 months or 62 days of an urgent referral. So these are people with an urgent referral. They have to wait 2 months. So the target is 85%. Well, why isn't it 100%? And it's not been met since December 2015. Yeah, what happened then? Probably when austerity started. You know, this, well, not this government, but the government before this one, you know, they've got a lot of blood on their hands, I think. You know, people dying for various reasons, health reasons, mental health. You know, COVID, them sort of profiting from COVID while people were dying, partying while people were dying, even while the Queen was at Prince Philip's funeral and, you know, Downing Street, they were having a party. That government, honestly, well, do you know what? They're the ones that have to live with it. They're the ones that have to sleep at night, and they're the ones when they go off to the next life, they've got to account for being greedy bastards who just, you know, made a mockery of everything. So, you know, they've ruined the National Health Service, and now, you know, they're sort of turning around and whinging at the current government about things, but the current government's got to sort it all out. So let's see again. So there's supposed to be a rule that people with cancer should start their treatment within 31 days. But it just doesn't happen, unfortunately. Just doesn't happen. So according to the BBC, you know, and take that as you will. I don't know how reliable they are these days. But according to the BBC, cancer waiting times in 2023 are the worst on record in England. Only 64.1% of patients started treatment within 62 days of cancer being suspected, meaning nearly 100,000 waited longer than they should have for life-saving care. And the waits have worsened every year for the past 11 years. This was last year. So, in fact, I'll just show this so that you can see the graph. Not sure how Labour ruined the NHS when they've not been in power for 14 years. But anyway, we've all got our views. I know she's always photobombing me, isn't she? But I don't. She's people like watching her more than me, I think. Yeah. So 2000. There, yeah, you can see how it's just got worse and worse and worse. Now, why did it go down a little bit here? I wonder. Is that to do with COVID? Probably. It went down. Waiting list went down a little bit during COVID because everyone was too frightened to go to the hospital, or they weren't allowed to go to the hospital. So the king as well, Charlie boy, he was cared for in a private hospital, after the cancer was spotted during treatment for an enlarged prostate at the end of the month. So, you know, definitely, if you're in the royal family or if you've got money, of course, you can go private. And there's no way that Kate has gone through the National Health Service. I wouldn't imagine so. And, you know, I'm all for the fact, actually, that people who've got money, they should go private and take the burden. If you can afford to go private, you probably should, you know, because it does take a bit of the burden off the National Health Service. But still, the National Health Service has to be there for people. You know, we don't want to turn into America, do we, where you can't afford to be ill. You know, it seems to work in Spain, you know, but what they do in Spain is they have a different system. So I think, and a nurse that I took for she was like a community nurse that I took for an NIE number years ago. I remember her telling me the problem in the UK is a lot of the money goes to outside things besides the National Health Service, whereas in Spain everything is primary care. The primary care in Spain, I think, is second to none. You know, where if you're ill and you go and you need treatment and you need urgent treatment, I don't think you could hope to be in a better place. Maybe the secondary care is not as good as it is in the UK or other countries, you know, like, I don't know, home helps. And there's things like, you know, there's when, you know, I know people that were carers, and carers deserve nice treatment. I'm not saying they don't, you know, in carers for family members or whatever, but they'd get like days where they'd go for a massage and get their nails done and things. I don't know if I agree with that, because what I think is all the money should go into the primary care of saving someone's life in the first place, you know, like if they have cancer, their treatment. The other thing is, when the you know, ordinary people, if you like, have to think about when they're having cancer treatment. So it's not only, you know, it's horrible, obviously, and it makes you feel like shit. But if you haven't got transport, or if you haven't got somebody to take you to the hospital, and even in Manchester, the cancer hospital where you get your chemo, it's miles away from, you know, Manchester is a huge place. So depending on where you live, it can be miles away. It can take you 2 hours to get there. You know, if you haven't got anyone to take you, you have to drive yourself to your chemo treatment, or, you know, or maybe they may have buses or things, but that can take hours because it has to collect all the patients and what have you. And, you know, when you're not feeling very well and you're having chemo, do you really want to sit on a bus, you know, with a load of other people? So maybe some sort of taxi type thing, or some sort of way, you know, some of the money could go to helping people actually get their treatment, because the treatment itself is a trauma. You don't get a chauffeur-driven limousine picking you up and, you know, lights blazing, taking you straight to the hospital, get your chemo, or your doctor coming out to your home and doing it, or whatever happened with Kate. I don't know if how her treatment was received, or what exactly, you know, whether she got the new treatment. There's supposed to be a pill out now that you can take that replaces chemotherapy. You know, I don't know, but do you see what I mean? Like, the actual treatment itself should not be so traumatic when someone is already suffering, and then the chemo will make them ill, and then on top of that, they don't even know how they're going to get there, get home, how they're going to have the time off work. It just, you know, for so-called, you know, for sort of ordinary people, I think it's very difficult, you know. So anyway, so let's have a look at so breast cancer these days, I think, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's got a better prognosis, hasn't it, than it used to. Let's see. Yes. So the lowest survival rates are pancreatic cancer. As we said, it's only got 8.3%. Brain cancer, 12.9%, and liver cancer, 13.4%. And the highest survival estimates, I'll share this just so you can see I'm not making up, it's true. The highest 5-year survival estimates were seen in patients with testicular cancer, 93.5%. That's a very high. So there you go, guys. Get your prostate checked, because you know, that's, where's it gone? Where's that gone that I was reading? That was a very high percentage, wasn't it, for prostate cancer? So it's worth getting your prostate checked. People are scared, aren't they? You know, people get scared of getting checked out. Listen, I'm saying all this, I never have anything checked. So I'll say this to you now. I have not had any checks since forever. Probably had a smear test after I had my son, or before, or whatever, I don't know. And since then, nada, zilch, nothing. I don't go. Now, if I was ill, I would go. But, you know, that's just me, I'm afraid, the way I am, you know. But so I'm not recommending that to other people. People have to do what's right for them. So this is the, so we've got the testis, that was the testicle, wasn't it? Melanoma, which is skin cancer, that's got a high rate. Prostate, thyroid, breast. So they're quite high rates, aren't they, of survival, of surviving. Hodgkin lymphoma, that's what my ex-partner had years ago before I met him. And that was ironic because he had cancer, he had chemotherapy, he had all those things I talk about in my book, the Confessions of a Spanish Teacher book. And he survived all of it. And then later on, he deleted himself. So uterus, vulva, kidney, got some of these. I didn't know that you could have cancer. No. Oh, I think he might. I can't remember now if my ex had Hodgkin lymphoma or non-Hodgkin lymphoma. I can't remember if it was a Hodgkin one. And actually, that's the cancer that my great niece, has been diagnosed with. Larynx, anus, cervix, rectal, colon, leukemia, bladder, ovary, stomach. So yeah, starts off quite promising up here with this testicular cancer, and it ends up not too clever with the pancreatic cancer, brain or liver cancer. Now then, does anybody know anybody who had cancer and didn't have chemotherapy but still did recover? Because sometimes I've wondered that. I've thought, well, would they have recovered anyway, or is it the chemo that has literally saved their lives? Now, I know people who have had only radiotherapy, and the people that I know that had radiotherapy to cure their cancer but didn't have chemo, they recovered. I mean, they had like a lumpectomy first, you know, actually had the cancer removed. Then they had radiotherapy, but no chemotherapy. And they survived, but they say they would never have it again. It was horrible. The radiotherapy was horrible, and it caused a lot of issues, you know, afterwards. And again, was it the radiotherapy that cured them, or would they have been okay anyway with just the lumpectomy? Well, you never know that, I suppose. This is what always frightens me, and I hope I never have to make that decision, because being a person who totally, I'm almost got phobia about going to the doctors or hospitals. If I was suddenly faced with the decision whether I've got to have treatment or not, I just hope I'm never faced with that decision, because I don't know what I'd do. I honestly don't know what I'd do. And it's funny because I've always been sort of a bit phobic about hospitals, not only me going in hospital, but visiting other people in hospitals. When I was a kid, I just always used to think that anyone who went into hospital, they would die. So the best thing was to just not go into a hospital. It was like just a place where people died in my eyes. So even when like when my dad was in hospital, he had an embolism, like a clot in his lung, and I went to visit him, and I was having panic attacks, and I had to be practically carried out of the hospital. It was ridiculous. I was supposed to be there. I mean, I was only young. I was only about 19. That's how hospitals have always made me feel. And it was funny because then he was laughing at me years later when I came to Spain and I started interpreting. Oh my God, I'm a practical doctor now. I've been in that many hospitals with clients. I have been for me as well, but mainly with clients. Been in hospital so many times that, my dad used to say, God, I can't believe you're going to hospital with these clients, because you wouldn't ever come and visit me when I was in hospital. And then he had a heart attack, and I went and visited him. Did I go and visit him? I did go and visit him. But, I would give someone a heart attack in the hospital because I was so terrified of hospitals. And I got better as I got older. And then the first time I had to have an operation, oh my God, because I got to quite an advanced stage before I had to spend any time in the hospital for me. And I was absolutely terrified. Anyway, it was okay, it was fine, but I wouldn't be so terrified the next time. But, nobody likes hospitals, I suppose. It's not a place that you like, is it though? I'll tell you, my ex, he used to quite enjoy being in hospital because he liked all the nurses faffing over him and what have you. He quite liked it, to be honest. But it was like only when I laugh when he was in hospital, because he just did seem to quite sort of thrive on it. He wasn't in any rush to come out, put it that way, because he was loving everybody running around after him. So I know, Pamela, I'm very naughty. I am. I know, but I just can't help the way I am. I get told off by all my friends all the time, not going for these checks. And, I'm very lucky. I'm in a country where you can go, they send you letters, call you in for, mammograms and smears and this, that and the other. And I'm just like, not going, I'm not going. And I just don't go. And it might catch me out one day. But, that's a choice. It's just a choice that I've made, I'm afraid. But I wouldn't recommend anybody else doing it. You've got to do what you feel constant. You've just got to do what you feel. Sorry, what's that? I do feel for you, Vicky. Horrible, and the pee smell. Oh, you're talking about hospitals there. I presume you're talking about hospitals there, Julie. Now, there's no pee smell in Spanish hospitals. I'll tell you, they're the cleanest. They didn't get that. What's the word? What's the name of that? What's the name of that? What's the name of that superbug? Is it the MRSA bug? Never got that in Spain. It just didn't happen. Spanish hospitals are so clean. Literally, they're cleaned constantly. I was really surprised at the difference, because I've been, as I say, in hospitals in the UK, and my mum was in intensive care for a while, and it was that intensive care ward. There were loads of people in it, and people were coming in and out all the time. And the intensive care here in Spain, you're only allowed in twice a day for half an hour. And you have to, gown up completely from head to foot. And they're all disposable, like they don't get washed afterwards. They're just thrown into the bin. all that PPE. Wonder if Michelle Moan's doing the contract for him. But yeah, I was very impressed with the intensive care. The first time that I had to go as an interpreter, I went in to interpret for someone. And of course, it was the patient in the intensive care, and I took their partner in. And but only 2 people allowed in. You know, it's a law, like it's rigid. No more than 2 people. And that's how you know when somebody's going downhill, is when they let everybody in to, you know, to the family to go around the bed. That's when you know that that person is not long for this world, because before that they won't let more than 2 in at a time. Spotlessly clean, spotlessly clean. High tech. You know, the last time I went for an X-ray on my knee, oh my God, I thought I was in some kind of, I thought I was being beamed up to Area 51, Heather, because it was just so high. I was thinking, oh my God, I've never seen X-ray stuff like it. Amazing. I mean, you know, I am impressed with the Spanish health system, I've got to say. But it's funny, when I was interpreting, I'm just chatting now, aren't I? But when I was interpreting for people, and again, in my Confessions of a Spanish Teacher book, there are some of these stories in there of things that happened to me or experiences that I had when I was out and about interpreting for people. And it's funny because you go in as an interpreter, you know, because obviously the client doesn't speak Spanish and they're taking you along. And I've taken men, women, you know, for all sorts of different things. Some things more basic than others, some things really quite intimate. And people don't think of you as an interpreter. I think they just think of you as like one of the nurses. You know, so literally, I'm trying to be discreet and, you know, close curtains and try not to look. And these people, they're like just stripping off, and, you know, men and women just like having the prostrate examined. Like just, and I'm like, oh, I'll just look the other way now. Don't worry, you know. Just, I think they think you sort of blend into the background and become part of the medical team sometimes when you're interpreting. But sometimes it's quite embarrassing for me. And that's, you know, for me is a good reason to learn Spanish, because there are some things that you might have wrong with you and you go to the doctor to talk about. You don't want an interpreter there, male or female. You don't want people knowing your ins and outs and what your sex life's like with your husband. I've been through all that as well. And, you know, it's just amazing what people will take you to the doctor for, and not care that you know, not have any compunction about showing their bits or telling you all the gory details of what they got up to last night with their husband, or, you know, all those things. It's amazing, really, how but I think they look on me, I suppose, as sort of part of, you know, it's almost like a doctor. I don't know what it is, but it's quite funny. Yeah, Maria. Yeah, what's the good things about Spain? Garbage collection and healthcare. But there are other good things as well, but they're the best things. The garbage collection, you can't fault at all. The way they pick up, you know, every day the rubbish and the recycling and all that sort of thing, that's really good. But not every, you know, obviously not everything's good about living in Spain. It's probably different in different areas. But a lot of people have commented that to me. Oh God, do the bins come every day? Because, I mean, in the end, it fades into that, you know, there's a lot of, when you live in a Spanish village, there's a lot of noise all the time. One thing I would say to anyone who's thinking of coming to live in Spain, if you don't like noise, don't go and live in a village. Really, literally, because it's noise constant. But, you know, you sort of get used to it all in the end. You know, it's like, so the rubbish every morning, there's like a rhythm to a village. You know, I can lie in bed in the morning, especially now, because of course you've got the windows open because it's summer. You've got the birds singing. Then the bin men come around about 5 o'clock. You don't need a watch. You don't need a watch. You don't need a clock. You hear the bin van coming up and you think, right, must be 5 o'clock-ish. Then they go. And then the first neighbour on my street goes out at about 5:30. So I hear them. I don't even know which neighbour it is. I just hear someone come up, get in their car, drive off at 5:30 every morning. So I think, oh, it's 5:30. It's about 5:30. Anyway, you've got the church clock telling you what time it is. It chimes, the bells ring every hour and every half hour. Then just after, so then at 5 to 6, my next door neighbour, you hear their garage door, electric garage door open, their car comes out, electric car, garage door goes down, they go off to work at 6. Then at about 6:20, it's the motorbike from up the road. The guy there, he goes about 6:20. And you hear all these things happening. And then you think, oh, right, better get up now. It must be nearly 7. Because when you've been through the process of all the different ones coming out and getting in their cars and going off to work, you can set your clock by it. You know what time. You're constantly reminded of the time, and it's a rhythm, a routine. And then they all, when they go, of course, now school's back, so they go out. It's the high school. I've got one neighbour, their daughter goes to high school, so you hear them taking their daughter to high school at 5 to 8. Then they've got a younger son, he's still at the junior school, he goes at 5 to 9. It's just a routine. So, it's a routine. The whole villages are run on routine. They come home at a certain time. They have their lunch at a certain time. And you sort of get into that routine in a way. Well, I try not to have a routine. I don't like routines, but sometimes you just have to fit in their routines. I like a certain amount of routine, but it's like with taking the dogs out and stuff like that. I don't like to go at the same time every morning or to the same place. And, I've learned that from doing the true crime and everything. So I go to all different places at different times. Everybody there. So I'm just looking at what you're all saying about your knees. Your knees, of course, are the first thing that go, aren't they? And anyway, that cannabis oil and everything is supposed to be good, isn't it, for your joints and things? I've never tried it. Again, I've got students who take it, they swear by it. It's good for knee joint pain, etc. But I just haven't got around to trying it yet. I'm not against it. I would try it. What I find with God, what we like, we talk about arthritis now and everything, but better to have arthritis than cancer, I suppose. But everybody gets it or gets something. You're lucky I'm lucky to be at this age and to not touch wood, literally touch wood, not to have had anything serious so far. I mean, tomorrow's another day, isn't it? Or today even. You just don't know what's going to happen. But if you manage to get to an older age and either not have had anything or to have had things and survived them, you're quite lucky, aren't you? Some people don't even get past their teens, do they? For one reason or another. And it's not only accidents and things. Young people do get ill, don't they? There was a lad I used to work with at Lewis's when I used to work on a Saturday at Lewis's, which is was a big department store in Manchester. And that was my Saturday job. And this lad, he was my age. So he was, 17, 18. And he was at home one day and he just had a headache. And it just kept getting worse and worse till in the end he was in excruciating pain and he was fitting and being sick. and they called an ambulance for him, and he was dead, and he had a brain tumor, and they had never known. Nobody, he had nothing. Well, as far as they knew, maybe he had headaches and that just hadn't told anybody about. But nobody knew. There was no warning, no nothing. Just one day, an absolutely splitting headache, which resulted in him having fits and being sick. And by the time the ambulance got there was nothing they could do for him. Lawrence is known. I remember him as clear as anything, working with him, and he went out with one of my friends, and lovely lad. You just don't, and that's, so even health, we always associate bad health with older people, but younger people get bad health as well. So we're lucky if we get older, and if we get older and we're okay. Did you used to go in Lewis's? Well, I used to work in the food hall in Lewis's on all different counters. The time that I worked there for a couple of years on Saturdays. So Saturdays, and then when I got fed up of college, I worked there for a few months, like full time, and then I got a job at the Social Security in Rusholme, the DHSS. And then I didn't like that. And then I got a job at Ladbrokes, and that's how I ended up going to Reading by transferring with them. So I think we're all wishing Catherine good luck with her recovery. But also, I just want to say, for anybody else, I'm going to light a candle. Actually, I haven't lit a candle for a while because it's been so hot. But it's cooling down now a little bit. So I'm going to light the candle that I've not lit for a while. For anyone, either on the chat here, Pamela, for anyone who's suffering from the big C, for my niece or my great niece, and anyone else who's undergoing treatment especially, or, recovering, in remission, I'm going to say a little prayer for all those people and try, all we can do is send good wishes, healing vibes, and hope that they manage to cope with it, get through it. And not only cancer, any illness, illness is a very isolating thing, isn't it? When you start to get ill, younger or older, there are things that you can't do, like you can't go out like you used to. Maybe you used to like going out partying, you can't party anymore. Maybe can't drink anymore. Maybe things that you used to enjoy doing now make you sick, or maybe you need help to walk, or you can't get out. You lose your independence. These are awful things, to lose your independence, etc. It's horrible. And it happens to everybody. Nobody gets away with it. It's like when you're young, you don't even think about it. Of course you don't. Hopefully you do think about other people. I've always tried to help older people when I was young. I'm hoping that'll, that I'll get that good karma back, because I always remember I used to go to one of our neighbours and paint her nails. And this lady, she was old, like really old, like, probably in her 80s. And I used to go with my mum. I don't know why I went. Maybe my mum went for a chat with her too. My mum would have done things like that to keep someone company. And I just remember I would do her nails sometimes, paint her nails, and she was so grateful. And I didn't really even register at the time. It was just like, oh, I'm just painting your nails, it's not a big deal, but I remember her saying, oh, thanks for doing that. Really, it's not many young people want to spend time with old people, that sort of thing. But it's never bothered me. I've always quite liked old people, actually, because they're always interesting, aren't they? They tell you stories. And when I used to do that voluntary work in Manchester, where I used to go around with the Assist charity, and I would walk people's dogs if they couldn't walk their dogs. anything the home help would do, because they had home helps, and the home helps would go and do like the cleaning and the shopping, but they didn't always have time to sit and chat with them or take their dogs for a walk or whatever it was. And there was a lady that I used to go and visit. So I'm going to tell you this story now about Dorothy Thursby. Her name was. She can't still be alive now, so don't feel bad about mentioning her name. And she was so interesting. Now, Dorothy, at that time when I used to go and visit her, sort of 40 years ago, she was already in her 80s or 90s, and she was housebound. And she couldn't get out of the house. So she had a home help who came in and did a basic cleaning. I mean, it wasn't clean, the house, to be honest. So I think she always used to offer me a cup of tea. And I used to go, oh, no, thanks. So in the end, I would take drinks with me. I would take us some Coke or some cordial or something, because I just couldn't have a cup of tea made in her house, bless her. Because she couldn't see very well. So she didn't know that her kitchen was not that clean, or the cups weren't that clean. Anyway, so I would sit with her in the living room, and we would chat. And you know what I'm like for chatting. So it was hard to get away from her sometimes. I'd be there for hours. The woman who ran Assist, she'd say to me, just spend an hour maximum. 3 hours later, I'd still be there feeling bad about leaving her. Anyway, so she was housebound. She was in a wheelchair. And she told me the story of her life was so interesting. She was like the real life Cinderella. So she had two sisters who treated her terribly. She never worked. She'd never ever worked. Her sisters worked, and she looked after them, and she did the cleaning, the cooking, and her sisters ran her life for her. She'd only ever had one boyfriend, which was sometime just after the war, so like years earlier, and her sisters had seen him off. Their sisters got really awkward about it and made sure that she never saw him again. So she was a virgin as well. She told me that she was a virgin, that she'd never had a proper relationship with a man. So of course, her sisters had died by now. So she lived with her sisters all her life. And her sisters had died by now, and it was just Dorothy living on her own and housebound and lonely, as you can imagine. So this charity that used to send people out, like me, I wasn't the only one who went out there. I was the one that spent the longest time with her, because I used to feel so bad leaving her. They would send people out at least once a week, maybe twice a week. Somebody would go out to sit and chat with her for an hour. It was so sad. And things that I always remember about Dorothy, that again, being young, maybe I was 19, 20, but you don't really register what it's like to be an old person then. One thing I always remember, that she said, I would give anything to have a bath. Now, I hate baths. I never have a bath. I've probably not had a bath for 20 years because, it's showers here. It's like the bath. I don't know. I mean, when I was young, I would have a bath, because I don't think we had a shower. We didn't have a shower. But I always remember her saying, I would give anything to be able to get in the bath and sit and have a bath. Now I'm getting emotional now. She said, oh, God, don't take much to set me off. That she would give anything, just a simple thing like that, to put, get in a bath on her own and get out of the bath. So the home help would come and would give her like a bed bath type thing. So, but she never had a bath. And the other thing that I always remember is she lived in a cul-de-sac. And one day when I went round there, she had this lovely big window, and she used to sit at the window and watch the world going by, And one day when I went there, she said, oh, that neighbour, he started parking his van outside my house, and I can't see anything that's going on. And it blocked her view, and it completely, ruined. And I remember thinking, oh God, how inconsiderate. I mean, he probably didn't even realise, because he's probably thinking, oh, that old lady that lives there, she hasn't got a car, so I'll park in front of her house. But it meant that Dorothy couldn't see anything. And that was part of her life, was just watching people come and go, and walking their dogs or going to work or etc. So it was very, very sad. Now, of course, in the end, I left Manchester. I didn't get to know what happened to Dorothy in the end or whatever. Obviously, she must have been deceased now. I mean, she had attention, don't get me wrong. Home helps were going in every day, I think. And that probably even after I left, there would have been other people from Assist going around. But yeah, I used to go with my little Ribena or something like that, and take one for Dorothy, because the first thing she'd say when I went in, oh, do you want a cup of tea? Do you want a cup of tea? And I'd go, oh no, you're all right, I've brought some Ribena, because I just couldn't bear to, the home help wasn't very good, it wasn't very clean, put it that way. Poor Dorothy. Anyway, she was very interesting to talk to. And I think that's what I like about old people, or I'm one of them now. But they've always got lots of stories, haven't they? Even someone like Dorothy, who had never married, or, but the stories she used to tell me about her sisters, and it always reminded me of Cinderella, like, just for God, where's the bloody fairy godmother to let her go to the ball? So these two sisters had been absolute bitches to her, and the only one time that she had a chance of, meeting someone, because she was the youngest sister. She did meet one guy, I don't know where, she can't remember where she met him, probably at a dance hall or something. These sisters just got rid of him straight away. And the three sisters, remained single all their lives. And Dorothy was like the skivvy for these older sisters. Yeah, very sad, isn't it? I know. So many old people out there, aren't there? Lonely and that. It's I do like it when they do these. What's it? Is it GMTV that does this donating hours? So yeah, instead of donating money, if you donate an hour a week where you'll go and talk to someone who's lonely, I think that's lovely. I think that's a lovely idea, because loneliness is a terrible thing, and especially in cold countries. I mean, I'm sure there's lonely people. It's the same here in Spain, but Spain's more, extended families tend to still sort of stick together and see each other. But there will be people who are lonely, who've lost their husband, their wife. There'll be people there's a lot of expats here that are very lonely, because they come out here maybe with their wife or husband, and then years later their wife or husband dies, and they're lonely, maybe in a great big villa somewhere, lonely. And there are social services here, but if you don't speak Spanish, you can't get the social services organised. But there are quite a few charities here, British charities like Help at Home and things like that, where they'll go out and visit people when they're in hospital, if they've got nobody else to visit them, or go and help someone with their shopping, etc. So there is help available. But yeah, a lot of people, loneliness is sad, isn't it? And when people get older, they can't always have a pet, unless, except a little chihuahua. That's what I'm going to have if I end up living a very long life. I've already lived a long life. I don't think a German Shepherd would be the right pet for me. But yeah, and my dogs, Rocky and Riley, they're smaller, but they're still, they're still a challenge. And they're so sort of, Rocky, he's only little, but he's so strong. He's like, I'm sure he's got some staffy in him or something, because he's like built like that, But yeah, so in my twilight years, in my final twilight years, golden years, what I'm going to have a little tiny, maybe go back to a little poodle again. I had a poodle years ago, or a little chihuahua, or anyway, a little dog, a little quiet dog. So, okay, so there you go. I've told you the story of Dorothy Thursby. And do you know what? I think if Dorothy, if she's looking, you know, she's up there looking down, I hope she's watching this, because I hope sometimes, you know, I hope she's around me or whatever. But anyway, that's another story for a paranormal session. But I hope she's looking down, and she would be amazed that she was on the internet. Well, of course, you don't even know what the internet is. But you imagine, I don't know if she'd be pleased or not that she was being talked about on YouTube. But yeah, the sort of modern day Cinderella of Charlton, that was in Charlton come Hardy. Poor Dorothy. And know how many other Dorothys are there out there. That was common then, you know, in old days. That's my dad, one of my dad's brothers. My dad had these two brothers and a sister. Something happened in our family. Well, that's a whole nother video. And they seemed to become estranged. My dad became estranged, like from his other two brothers, and they were estranged from each other. But my dad's sister, Alma, she went to live with my dad's brother, and she lived with him all her life, and she never married. She was a spinster. That's what they used to call them then, wasn't it? Spinster. Now they call them lucky. You know, it used to be, oh, spinster, spinster of the parish. Now it's all, there she goes, the lucky one. No, I'm only joking. But yeah, so Alma, and I didn't meet Alma. I may have met her when I was younger. I just don't remember. But I didn't meet her properly until at my dad's funeral. She came to my dad's funeral, and she looks a lot like me, or I look a lot like her. Just she was an older version. She was about 90 by then, but her eyes were just like mine, really like mine. It was quite surreal, actually. So yeah, it was common then for siblings to live together. Our next door neighbours in Charlton, it was a husband and wife, Molly and George, and Molly's brother all lived in the house together. Like, it was quite common then. I don't know if that happens so much now. Paranormal or aliens. I had a Jack Russell, Seffi. Before these dogs, I had a little Jack Russell called Tigra. She was a little shit. I mean, lovely. They're such characters, aren't they? Absolute characters. But she was an escape artist. She would chase motorbikes. If you were on the beach and someone had a frisbee, oh my God, she would just run off, get in the middle of a game of football, grab the ball or grab the frisbee. And once we were on the beach and she got this frisbee and the guy was trying to get the frisbee off her, and she just she wouldn't let go of it. Not in a million years. And he was shaking her from side to side like that. And she was just going like that. She was just gripped onto this frisbee. I had to go and rescue her. And she chased the horse once right across the campo, came back, nearly died. She could hardly breathe. She was a little villain, but a real character. But I don't think I'd have a Jack Russell again because they need a lot of exercise, don't they? They're untrained. I think all Jack Russells are untrained. Honest to God, I tried training her, but oh God. Anyway, she lived to 17, Tigra, and she only calmed down when she was about 13. So we had this lovely last few years where she was really calm and quiet. I could take her to places. I could take her to a restaurant and just put her on a chair and she'd be quiet. Because she was so old. So yeah, we had about 3 years where I could, 3 or 4 years when she calmed down. But right up to being 13, she was a nutter, absolute nutter, but tough. Oh my God, she was so tough. That's Jack Russell's view. They are little characters, and they can jump over everything, can't they? Right, sorry, Chumbra. So I've got to delete that. I don't want people saying where they're staying and things like that. Come on, no saying where people are staying and things. Okay, so I'm going, and so yep, nice candle for everybody who's, you know, suffering in whatever way, but especially today because we've been talking about Catherine. You know, people who are going through any kind of physical health problems. I think especially for them today. Anyway, okay, thanks for being here. Sorry, I've been chunnering on a bit of chunner there, a bit of blethering going on there for you Scottish people. Now, so Heather, thank you for the Ko-fi. I'm trying to find it to put it back up, but I've got to go back quite a long way on the chat. But so thank you for buying me a Ko-fi. I really appreciate that. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God always go with you.